Aishwarya. I'm from Calcutta. My first experience with Thai was when I did ThaiCon in January. And I was the only girl in the top 10. And the entire set of judges and the people who were giving funding, they were all men. And unfortunately, I'm in the skincare business. So for them, skincare is all the same. They don't know head from tail. They don't know soap from face wash. They have no idea. And it was like a nightmare for me to try and explain to them that how are you different, because they do not even know the basics. I'm not discouraging any of you, but I wish they would take back the goodies home and then realize how quickly they get snatched away by the lady members in the house, correct? So later, after the pitch was over, I went and found them outside, and I said, here is your goodie bag. Connect with me once you see the reaction when you take this home. And they actually understood then. So, when we say that skincare is special because for us ladies, lot of us really, and it's not only about appearance, I would say it's not only about how you appear or how you look or any of that. It's just, when I say it's a recession-free business, it is because we grew 8x in the last 6 months, okay? So it's not about really being like, a very superficial product, but I think if you have a fantastic set of products which you can sort of connect with, and by that I mean that, you really find your holy grail skincare product which is effective, which is affordable, and is a stabilized product which you can commit to. We women anyway have commitment issues with skincare, makeup, these kind of products, mostly because they don't serve the purpose which they claim to. Also, we have the same kind of commitment phobia that we have, okay, we bought a hair oil, so we have to finish this bottle before we try the other guy who's selling me a hair oil. So, so what we are different is that we produce products which are a nice synergy between something which is an Ayurvedic age-old remedy. Along with that, we have some very fascinating active ingredients, so to speak, which are sort of nicely married in a very unique way, and we come up with our very simple solutions for skincare problems. Secondly, we add to that the necessity of education about why is skincare important, what does it do, what is the basics of or the biology of the skin, and how yours is different from yours, and the entire thing. So it's like a fingerprint that you have. So we have trained associates, trained consultants who kind of take you through your skincare journey. Then we suggest you products which are like, at the beginning very basic, because you also have to commit to the discipline of skincare, which I don't know how many of us really do, that you wake up and you do your 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. It's as important as brushing your teeth now. Currently with the scenario outside, the viruses, the pollution, the sun, everything sort of combines together. So actually I started off, while I was growing up, I'm the only child. So it never really, I was sort of pushed in a direction. My father was a bureaucrat, so one direction, there you go. And then, there was nobody in the entire, I'm a Bengali, so no businessman whatsoever in the entire, upar niche, never, nowhere. Maybe a lady selling some sarees from the house, calling herself a designer. That's it. Nobody, okay? So I had to, so my parents kind of went into mild shock when I said business. And here I'm leaving a fancy job in Mumbai, well settled, nice salary hitting the bank, zero savings though, they didn't know. Because I was so unhappy mentally that I used to immediately spend it all on a nice big apartment and lots of fun things to do every weekend. But I was not happy. Now I don't have any money, very happy, okay? So these are things that I think, and also after that Thai thing happened and I didn't raise any funds there, I raised 1 crore within a month after that. So so what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to Thai, they put some perspectives in place saying that, maybe you're not up for going up on stage and pitching to 10 people together, you understand who is that one guy who will hear you out because of your 5 minutes of passion on stage. And then you convince them. So it was a very satisfying journey with TIE. Then came the women's pitch, and that also was very exciting and very, for me now I'm going for pre-series because I have a runway. I have a good enough runway for the next 6-8 months. And we've showed from February, the guy who came in at February, from there to our now current valuation is almost 8 times. Like I said, during COVID, we have substantially grown as a business. Also, we were very capex light, so no stores, no nothing, no fixed cost other than the office. Great team. They almost often said that don't pay us, give us ESOPs because they know. Okay, so I trained them like that, where they are asking me, "Ki bhai share de do, salary mat do." I said, that we'll see. You first take salary. So it's, we have a different kind of working atmosphere in office. I realized that I left my job not because of my job, because it was fantastic. I left it because of the people who I was working with. And somewhere down the line, they lost the plot totally because they were not giving us a great experience. A company like Godrej, and I'm not ashamed to say that out loud in a forum where, everyone respects the company, but, somewhere down the line in their search of growth, the basic levels of employee satisfaction was being lost. And like Shelly said that, you have hit a glass ceiling even when you're in the US, Mumbai is not far behind, okay? Women hit the ceiling very quickly, and there are lots of tricks that you need to know other than hard work. You need to really know how to work it to be up there in the C-suite. So I knew that I couldn't feature there. My dad was very sure I would, but it was a long journey trying to explain to him why I won't feature there at all, ever. So I said, look, I'm not doing this. I am 30 plus now, and I revolt now. It's better that I revolt now than actually have a mediocre life. I'm not made for that. I'll have a small but content life, and I think that is my most important takeaway from my own personal entrepreneurship journey as such. Rest is, you do what you're passionate about. If you find, like for her, mother-child separation is such an important topic. For you, candy is such an important topic that, that actually drives the entire, I would say the entire wagon just follows because you're just passionate about that one particular thing. I'm passionate about people care about their own wellness, and you wake up in the morning, see yourself nice and happy, and you go out. You've done your discipline bit, you've done your wellness bit, and then now you're off for the whole day. And then you come back and you take the day off and you just rest and relax and give yourself again 5 minutes of love. So that's that's my passion in my entire story. And we'll discuss the products later. I have one there right at the back. So if you want to try that, come over. And so, the minute you guys, so by tomorrow, I want all your addresses so that by the time you reach home, you'll have some samples to try. Okay. See you. Thank you so much. I hope we can work together in future. I'm already discussing things. So wherever there is a synergy, I'm always in.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Yeah, Deepa?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Am I audible? Good afternoon. I think so. It's too close. Yeah. Hi, this is Deepa. I am the co-founder of Novosalis Technologies. We are a health tech company based in Pune, working with a vision to humanize the healthcare technology. But this here, today I'll not really talk about my products. I'll really like to share about my journey. I started this company, which was 5 years back. And as Mahavir sir said, correct, that you really need to have the right founders. And my founding stone was wrong. I partnered with the wrong person. And within the first year, I had to take a decision whether I really need to continue with this venture or whether I need to go on. And that was the time when we actually dissolved our first agreement, which we founded with our founding team. And it was a total shatter for me to see that the partners with whom I believed in, shared my ideas to conceptualize and build this, was not existing anymore. But I was fortunate enough to onboard a CTO at the right time when this happened. And we started placing everything in order again. But this entrepreneurial journey of mine has been really a topsy-turvy ride, which I would like to share, where the moment we started with this, we felt the entire product revampification happened right from the day one when my new CTO came, because he had a different perspective to look at. And at that time we were, so till now we are bootstrapped. But the challenges were like getting a team onboarded because you have your own financial constraints. So I had a day where I had employees to work for me, but there was no office space. And there was a day where I would like to say I had an office space with me, which was my own space, but there were no employees who were working with me. But ultimately, I had to believe in it, that this is something which I am doing, and I know what is the end objective which I can achieve. And everything really fell in place because we believed in what we did. So when we decided about the product and the launch, we were ready to launch a product in 6 months. And once, on the day our product launched, we had 200 beta users on my product within 20 days, which was an achievement for my team, which motivated them to get aligned with whatever we are trying to do. Because whenever you are actually selling your idea, you are actually evangelizing the people with whom you are trying to work around and build this organization. So it was all about all these things where I felt that believing in whatever you do is really important. And as Mahavir sir said in this presentation again, correct? You really need to breathe, drink, sleep your business. And that is something which I am really happy to say, because I have a son who is 11 years old. And I think so he knows all my customers pit back by name, which products they are using, what are the things that I'm going to talk. And when I'm saying all these things, you know what I'm trying to say is, these things which I am doing, at the same time I feel it will actually help get a perspective to my son also, to understand what it is that you need to put in as effort, correct? What are the things that he needs to do to build something for himself, even if we are a successful organization that we dream in for or not. But these are the ground basics that I feel will really add value in terms of whatever we do. So this is just quickly about my journey. And as many of you have shared, correct, that you never really thought that this is the path you would like to travel. Because I was also fortunate to work with Fortune 500 company. But that was the time when I realized this workplace is not really giving me the opportunities to grow and look at the different perspectives, where I was put off and I put down my papers, and then I started working with a startup. And that was the place where I got all the empowerment from my founder, where he gave me the responsibilities to believe in my abilities to deliver. So these are some of the things which led me to drive my goal towards working for Novosalis. And so far, we have a pan-India presence across, with more than around 2,000 doctors across specialties who are working with us. And we have our flagship products which are loved by my customers, My customer retention is more than around 5 years. And the strength that we have is the word of mouth of my products has actually helped me acquire all these customers. So referrals by my existing customers is something that we have won. And these customers actually give me a confidence of improving my product day on day in terms of delivering to their needs. And that is what my entire team is focused on. And I would really like to thank my husband. Actually, he always tells me, you never thank me. Probably today, if he was here, he would have felt really nice for whatever he does behind the scene for me. So he actually helps me in terms of the product strategies, in building my products, which is the key strength of my organization. So I'm really fortunate to have him as my partner. I'll not say he's my co-founder, correct? Because he is not a person who is directly impacting, but he is behind the scene. And he is the one who actually pushes me to the wall, I should say, to believe in that there is something which I can achieve, because we as women always underplay ourselves. So when we got incubated in the VIPWE program, which was the first place where we tried to showcase Novosalis, which happened to me 3 months back, it was an eye-opener for us at Novosalis to look at ourselves in terms of the business that we are doing, the market opportunity that we have. Because every day, we are just thinking about the product, the services, how you cater, what are the customer needs, and everything. But here it brought in a different perspective to look at ourselves, where I felt here we need to understand what is it that we need to focus on. And these sessions that were done with us, especially the one-on-one mentoring sessions that we got, especially to look at ourselves in terms of understanding every jargons also. So we were really naive in understanding all these jargons, the numbers, the pre-series. So so I will say that it was like, getting incubated in these programs. We were in the pre-nursery, and now once we are out, we are just graduating one class over the above, where probably, one fine day, when we are the successful organizations, we have achieved it, is what is the goal that Sir has actually told in the morning. So I really don't know, but this is something which I would really like to tell all the people out over here. And these cohorts which we joined in, so everyone feels that they are the best, but these cohorts actually brought in a different perspective, because we get to look at the different sectors, and we get to know and understand what is the dynamics that is happening into the market, which really adds value in terms of looking at yourself, is what I feel. That's it. Thank you so much. I really want to thank everyone who has been a part, who has actually helped me come over here, because this was something which I needed, where I felt that I have to overcome all my inhibitions and fears to do whatever I want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepa. Yeah.
So, guys, it's been very heartening to hear some of your stories. And it kind of inspires one also, that one is doing work that is impacting so many lives and is having an effect, a positive effect. When we were designing this particular workshop, when Harshit and Abhishek and I were talking, we did not want it to be just yarn sessions, not just sessions where people come and tell you. That is important, but we also wanted it to be, since all of you have made the effort of coming here, it was equally important for you guys to be able to share formally and informally your experiences and learn from each other, build business relationships also. So these journeys that you guys are sharing are an equally important part of this program, if not more important than the other sessions we are doing. The other thing is that I did not mention this in the morning, but we actually have two people from another program that we run, and Deepa, thank you for pointing that out, which is called VIPWE. Just like Empower, which we've been running for 5 years, VIPWE is something we started this year only in partnership with Startup India. So these two ladies here are from the VIPWE program. And they just finished 3 months of acceleration and mentorship. And on November 27th was the demo day that, right, they went in front of, I think there were 12 investors they went in front of. And the third thing that I wanted to say is that I don't remember who it was, but somebody spoke about advisors. I think you spoke about advisors, Akita, right? You know, we always think that investors pick us, right, as startups, that investors pick us. But I think it's equally important for you to pick the right investor, right? So it's, don't just because money is coming your way, it's like marriage, right? You don't want a divorce too soon. That's not the idea behind marriage. So similarly, pick your investors just as much as they're picking you. So I think we're breaking for lunch now? Okay. And we are back in an hour? Yes, by 2 o'clock. So we'll break for lunch, and then 2 o'clock we'll be back for some more journeys first, right? Yes. And then we'll get into the Gyan piece. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes? What would you like? The story behind it. The story behind it. So the circle with the cross below it is a symbol for, yeah, right? There's a circle with an arrow which goes upwards in the, yeah, in the northeasterly direction. That's the male symbol, and the circle with the arrow below, with the plus below, is the symbol for females. And those things inside the circle are supposed to be technology. But I think the more than that symbol, the word is important, right? Empower. That's what we were trying to do. Yeah?
Now you have evolved it to the W being capital in that.
Yeah, correct. We actually, yeah. W for women. So any feedback, any questions, any thoughts before we break for lunch? Okay, all right. So we'll see you guys. We'll be interacting over lunch, but we'll get together back at 2 o'clock. Sorry?
Will the videos be shared?
Of course, why not? Absolutely.
We are going to charge you for that. But no, definitely. The only thing is, once the
You'll pay in candy, is it?
once the raw video is available, we'll figure out a way to have an optimized version shared with you, because otherwise it will be too big for you to share. Even your sessions of 12-15 minutes, it might be a little bit too much, too heavy to share. So we will optimize it and share it with you.
Also, I see quite a few of you haven't filled up the feedback form for Mahavir's session. So can we take a quick 30-second to a minute to fill that up, please? On the WhatsApp group, you have got the link. Until we see all the 4 feedback forms filled up, we will not let you check out from the room tomorrow. I don't know if Abhishek has informed you that any expenses which happen after tomorrow afternoon are all on you. So yeah, you get the stay, but the free part is not there. So I think we'll wait for a minute more. I'll quickly request each one of you to please click on the link and finish the feedback, because we would want to have it before we start the second session. I hope all of you have the link, right? Anyone who doesn't have the link or can't access it?
Good afternoon. Yesterday when this list was shared, I saw my name and I said, Ayla, lunch ke baad wala session first mera hai. So hopefully you'll all be gracious and please be awake while I speak. So Deepti Nathala. Nathala means it's a snail. So my family hails from coastal Andhra. I believe my ancestors used to collect the snails from the fertile soil and sell for a living. I had an abstract structure how I would like to speak today, but after listening to a few of the women on dais, I said, let's make it more personal, let's make it more brutally honest. So to speak about TiE or Hecol, which is our brand, quickly I'll speak about my journey. My father is a central government employee and I lost my mom when I was at 3rd grade. So when you lose one of your parents at an early stage, some of your basic needs are not met, you're not shielded, so you kind of get exposed to some negativity or some friction. Having said that, I was extremely good at studies. Fantastic memory, never had to study in my school. All I had to do was sit in a classroom, see my teacher on the whiteboard, I go back in the examination hall, I search in my memory and I give my answers. So school topper, district topper. So in 10th standard, in Andhra, you have to choose. You have to choose your discipline. More or less, if you're from a lower middle class or middle class, the options you're given is, become a doctor or become an engineer. So I said, being a doctor is like 10 to 12 years of study. That's a lot. And somebody has to fund me, whereas I look at engineering, just 4 studies and then I'll be financially independent. So somewhere the childhood and the family where I was born was impacting my decision, what I want to study and what I want to become. Not a wise decision making, not a good choice either. But then I was young, probably looking for a shortcut. So I gave my all engineering exams, JEE, AIEEE, the state exam, got through JEE. The other big choice I have to make is, if I join in an engineering school in Andhra, I don't have a scholarship. But if I join into JEE program for IIT, I'm covered under 50% scholarship. So, straight. Okay, another choice, I said, okay, I will not have an education loan. I wouldn't have to depend on my father for the money. I'll be very independent, and I chose IIT. We went for the counseling session. Based on the rank, typically you all know that seats get filled for computer science, electrical, mechanical. And of all the IITs, my father preferred Madras. He said, you're a girl child, Madras is closer to Hyderabad, and I've heard it's more conservative, unlike Delhi or Mumbai. Again, not a good wise decision. Nowhere, it wasn't about what I like, what's my passion, where do I want to contribute. So I get into IIT Madras and I said, okay, awesome, here is my bag, I'm stepping away from a toxic environment, I'm gonna go study, enjoy, learn, blah, blah, blah. Now when I sit in my classroom on the first day, I figured out, oh my God, my classroom has this top cream of the country who are blessed in many other ways apart from memory. A project which I would do in 4 days, maybe they'll do it in half an hour or 1 hour. They have these analytical skills. And they have gone through a rigorous Kota or Narayana or Ramaya system where their body and mind is tuned to sit in a chair and a table for continuous 14 hours and study, which I didn't. And also I was from a Telugu medium school. I knew how to speak English, but it was my 3rd language. Then an inferiority complex set in. I want to express myself to my teachers, to my peers. I was struggling with the language. it wasn't a very cakewalk, those 4 years, the way the schooling was. There were challenges I enjoyed. I was pushed out of my comfort zone. I said, okay, let me prove myself, let me learn. I started reaching out to my professors. I asked them how to improve my English. They said, start reading the Hindu, make a list of words, start using them. I also reached out to few of my peers and I said, okay, I struggle in this assignment, I struggle in this question. So first year, the grades were very poor. Second year, it was average. And by third, fourth year, I was cracking exams. Maybe I learned all the tricks they knew. I wouldn't say IIT made me a fantastic engineer, but it gave us an enormous exposure. We were given an environment and even forced to study courses of sociology, philosophy. We had a minor. I was doing financial management. I learned how to be more financially disciplined, plan your money. In my third year, fourth year, I knew how to play in stock markets. So this exposure was like a tarmac, where my aeroplane was getting ready to fly. I also compared myself with my other peers and I said, see, everybody has a clarity. Few of them are going towards UPSC, few of them are going towards PhD, few of them are doing masters in the engineering, few of them are heading to B school. I didn't know what I want to do next. So I said, past is past, whatever has happened. Let me know who I am, let me explore, let me learn a lot. Maybe I'll give myself a decade, 10 years, then I will decide what I want to study. And also few of them were gearing up to become entrepreneurs while we were students. And they were different. They were different from the rest of the people. They were hyper energetic, they were more social, they were reading a lot of books, they were listening to some talks, they were reaching out to alumni, they were learning all the legal paperwork. I saw them and I said, okay, I don't fit in there. That's too much of a responsibility, too much of a work. Again, I was looking at my past. I said, okay, tough childhood, tough IIT too. So let me have an easy life. So in all the choices I had what to do in my life, I struck off entrepreneurship. I graduated, I was working in Bangalore, campus placement, then learned that sitting in front of computer, coding is not something that I really like. So I joined an NGO, the best in the urban policy making, called Janagraha. Few of us, my batchmates, we pitched to Tata Tea. We got $1 million funding. We ran a program, campaign nationwide. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna hurry up here. So I came back being in California, Dubai for many years, just last year, and this idea struck to me, and we were working on this. Just before 14 days of the competition of TIE, we got to know, not because of TIE Hyderabad, because we were registered in Startup India, TIE Delhi email came to us. So I reached out and 2 mentors came on board. They have mentored us in many ways. Because of short of time, I think I'll stop here. If anybody is interested to know more about the journey, I'll speak later. And about the product, we have a proprietary fabric. It's a patented fabric, 100% cotton, compostable in 14 weeks. The first thing what we achieved is it can shield you 99% from the sun rays. So typically in India, you see they're wearing handkerchief or dupatta material. We were planning to stitch products out of it and sell, and that's where I reached out to Harshit and he gave me an idea. Why don't you sell the fabric itself, like a do-it-yourself kit? Second property, it protects you from 95% pollution. You don't have to wear a surgical mask and a 95 mask because it takes 150 years for composting. And third property it has is, even before COVID, this fabric could kill bacteria and fungus. And that's where our R&D stopped. We didn't expect COVID. COVID came. Because we were in advanced stages of research, this fabric can kill like 5-6 different types of virus, polio virus, COVID, H1N1. And during the entire COVID, we had sleepless nights supporting United Nations hospitals. One heck of a journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepti. Manisha?
I'm Manisha Saraf. I represent Super Procure, which is a B2B SaaS tech platform for the logistics department of manufacturing organizations. that precisely what I do now. After all the like exciting journey what Dipti just explained, I was just at a loss that what do I explain about my journey. Because when I look at my journey, I just feel I had a cakewalk, like I don't know whether I had ever faced any kind of problems or not, but I'll just try to note down few of the things that I've achieved. So for me, being a Marwari lady, got married at the age of 20. By 21, I had a daughter, and that is when, I think my entrepreneurial journey started. So my father-in-law actually sent me to a mutual fund distribution house just to ask that he has so much of money, can I just get a bargain deal for some pass back? Like that is what was very much in, I'll say, everyone was doing that. So when I went, this manager with whom I was talking just told me, ki, Manisha, why don't you come to this side of it? Like, I think you'll do a better job there. And I started, it went well. I had a lot of HNIs. I was doing a lot of good things for them, but the urge that it's not enough was still there. So now Manisha, a lady married for 11 years with 2 daughters, I just went to a client. I had done my CFA from ICFI at that point of time. And that client said that you keep advising on tax regulations. Are you a chartered accountant by any chance? And I had to say no. And I felt so bad about it. That day I just went and filled in the foundation course. So I don't think in CA anyone had heard that 11 years ka marriage with 2 daughters, someone is filling for CA foundation. So there also it went as a cakewalk, like my father-in-law used to drop me for tuitions and all. I cleared finals with a rank, and that was again not enough for me. So I was not in the actual auditing field. What I used to do is I used to pick up projects, build strategies around funding and expansion and all for clients. And that's what I made good money out of. But again, what it always felt is like there's a child I'm raising. So till the time the project had this kind of complexities, the clients used to stay. Once you have made it simple, you just hand it over and like you are disjointed from the project. So there was always a pain ki yaar jiske saath mehnat kiya, you're just giving it away. So that is where Super Procure came to my life. At Super Procure, again, it's an industry which you will not see many women into. So we take care of the hardcore logistics department. So like you have Salesforce, you have KK, HR softwares and all. Similarly, we are building the operating system for the logistics management. And we are fortunate enough to have clients like PepsiCo, Borosil, L&T Construction and all on our platform. Jaipur also has a lot of our clients like Dynamic Cables, Bajrang Wires are few to name. We have more than 5,500 transporter vendors on our platform. And one thing which I really would like to ask for help is like with a startup, the journey always have 1 or 2 hurdles that we are facing. Currently, our main hurdle is when it comes to negotiation with clients. So we have pilots ongoing with both HUL and ITC at this point of time. But when it comes to actually finalizing the commercials, like you are talking to a, like I'll say an organization which has a full set of purchase department, finance department who are sitting in front of you. You don't want a client like HUL or ITC to go, and how much do you come down and why? Like that question still persists and I don't have an answer for that. So anyone who can help me with that, like I would really want to take some help on that. Talking of my Thai journey, so like first of all, it was the first time I realized that eastern part of India might have so many women entrepreneurs doing such wide range of work. Otherwise, I had thought like we don't have women entrepreneurs in that region. And from the very first phase, so like when I was handholded for my pitch, the first pitch, and the person told me, yeah, I'm from the logistics industry, I couldn't understand what you do, how will someone else understand? And then the way he actually worked with me to make my pitch so that the judges could understand it, that was amazing. The mentor sessions in the phase 2 also was something I really loved. One thing which I don't know whether you remember, but Avantika, who took our funding session in that, she very simply told the investor wants just 3 answers. What you have de-risked, till now? What will you de-risk with his money? What will you de-risk with the future rounds of funding? And like that was like absolute clarity to me. हाँ यार इतना ही तो चाहिए. Like what else is he expecting? And similarly, like even the HR session with KPMG is something which was very helpful. Itna bada brand, and they explained like how do you run a 5-member team as well. So all thanks to TIE for making us like stand here. And one thing more is we just keep postponing our pitching, like I'll say the formatting and practicing it. But this was one forum which actually forced at least me to take out time from my normal like firefighting and just sit and prepare the pitch, which is actually required, and at times like you have to present it tomorrow and aaj raat ko baith ke hum banate hain. But honestly, it made me prepare, and believe me, there was a time I had to present it next day, and I had exactly presented the pitch which I had prepared for TIE. And this happened to me really, so thanks. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha. Praveena? Okay, we'll call Neha Chauhan.
Hi, everybody. Great afternoon to one and all. And this is Dr. Praveena, founder School Skies. So, doctor by qualification and by passion and zeal, an entrepreneur. So, when we think 2020, I think it's going to be etched in our minds for various reasons and typically for the pandemic as such. But before I go into the serious note of 2020, let me ask you, how many of you are moms here? Show of hands. I have a lot of people to support. Even dads can raise your hands. I think you equally contribute to the family. That's great. Okay, so what's that you will think when you think 2020? As a mom or as a dad? Absolutely. So having kids full time at home, having them attend classes through bed sheets, eating waffles, munching munchies. So all of this is going to be something that's impacted our lives. So just to put in a little bit more on that, on a serious note, 2 billion students were shut out of schools across 136 countries. That's a huge statistics. And education almost came to a standstill. So I am very enchanted to say that School Skies has done its little bit or its part by unlocking these schools digitally, so enabling education by the spirit. So that's something that I'd like to share, that we've gone and onboarded 40 to 50 schools on a digital platform in less than 2 months. So we were quickly making a pivot of, taking the online classes, using the tech stack of using Microsoft Teams. Not only just that, training the teachers as well, helping them go the tech way, giving them certifications. All of this has been what we've been doing in the pandemic. So this is kind of fortunately or unfortunately been an area where we've made a major impact. And so apart from that, if you ask me in one line what School Skies does, so it's a very unique school management solution. So starting from online admission till your kid gets the TZ, we digitize everything for you. So that's a simple thing about School Skies, and where is the inspiration coming from, and why did you start School Skies? So the journey is typically parental journey. So that's why I started with mom and dad and concept. So I think all we women have 2 challenges in life. So one is finding the right life partner. So I have a lot of unmarried colleagues here, so they must be understanding that. So the other thing is probably finding the right school for your kid. I'm sure you are with me on that note. So as a mom, I'd gone to different schools, student queues, and asked for applications during storm, and I was worried whether my kid will get in, in this particular school. Those application process itself is a very challenging one. And I think that kind of drove us to think, so why should we stand in queues for applications? Why should we depend on paper circulars for information? Why is there such a huge communication gap between teachers, parents, and students? So I've been on the affected side. So as a parent, I've thought of this multiple times, represented in the PTA, and then gone ahead and said, okay, let's do something about it. So that's how my journey with School Skies starts. And so it was like doing a lot of research on how to digitally bridge the gaps in communication between schools. So the vision was to bring the stakeholders onto one common platform, the parents, teachers, and the students, management, all of them onto one platform. So it was like typically based on the research we did in the school that my kid goes to. So from there on, we translated it to different schools, took a lot of feedback on from various teachers and all of that, and we put this platform together. So why it's unique is because we didn't actually sell a digital product. We were actually changing a trend. So that's how I would set myself apart from the other solutions in the market, because we were trying to evangelize schools and teachers to adopt technically or digitally even way before the pandemic. So we used to do a lot of outreach programs, teacher empowerment programs, and teach them about intuitive Microsoft tools and those kind of things, which were a very different business model that we've adopted, and we've seen great adoption. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So we've got close to 99% renewal year on year, now close to 4.5, 5 years from some of the top schools in Chennai. And across the globe also, we've got, across India also, we've got schools across India. And I would say that we've got good data, 1 lakh parents on the portal, close to 10,000 and more teachers on the portal. So that's a huge adoption, and retaining the clients, we've been great. We've done close to 1 lakh admissions, online admissions, completely paperless. We've driven the paperless concept, Go Green concept across the school community. And of course, we've handled sensitive matters like fees transaction, close to 200 crore fees transaction in the last 4 to 5 years. So that's been our USP, and that's been the inspiration behind why we've started School Skies, and that's a startup story. And if you don't mention a little bit about the founder story as well, I think the startup story becomes incomplete. So myself and Dr. Jagdish, we both are a bunch of doctors in the tech space, ironically. So we've been questioned a lot of time, you are PhD doctors or medical doctors? So definitely we are medical doctors. So he's a surgeon and I'm an oral physician. So what drove us here is his pure passion to create technology, or to create teams, and my passion and zeal to create a change, to impact and be the reason behind the change is what has driven us here. In fact, we've been sustaining and scaling a software firm for close to 15 years. So around 800 people have passed through this even before School Skies. So School Skies is our 4th venture. We've already driven to 2 to 3 ventures and 1 in the Chinese market, all of which we have exited right now, and School Skies is what we are purely at right now in 2020. And we've also taken the pivot, and I should say TiE has been extremely useful to drive the pivot. So the pandemic time, and when the Keiretsu founder, Mr. Shrikant, has told us, he storyboarded the whole thing. He said, you are doing a pure administrative tool, and then you pivoted to being into the core of education, which is teaching. Later, you can pivot if you would want to go to B2B2C. So we put up a tutor or a chatbot, AI-based chatbot, which is in the phase 1 now. So we're calling it Questionnaire, which will personally assist online students to figure out, what areas they are weak at, to grade, to assess, and to kind of teach them. So it'll be like their personal trainer who's going to sit with them and identify their weak areas based on, AI chat. So that's something we are coming up, and that's typically the reason why I went to TiE to ask for funding or mentorship. And I think I got quite a bit of knowledge there from the TiE chapter, TiE Chennai chapter, and that's been great. Now, apart from all this, this is like the rosy picture. So if I have to go ahead and say the challenges we faced in 10 years, 15 years, I can only sum it up saying that it's a miracle that I'm still married, and it's a miracle that I'm still continuing to do entrepreneurship, venturing into different stuff, despite being from a completely different domain. And so that's something that I will probably ask Hemant to give me another day to talk about. So with that, I would also like to let the elephant in the room. So typically for School Skies, my challenge is the sales and marketing. The school space is very difficult to crack and to hold on to. So to a large extent, we've done it successfully. So that's something that I'll pride myself with. But the sales cycle is very long. So I'm not sure how we are going to really crack schools in a short period. And the other thing is, being in the tech space, we are thinking of product diversification. So how do I handle that? So do I go ahead and get the funds before I actually pilot it? Do I do a lean marketing with the chatbot strategy? Or do I just put in my funds or take debts and push that product to the B2B2C and then look at it? Or am I even looking at the right product diversification? So these are the couple of things that I would reach out to all of you to give me feedback or suggestions on, and it's most welcome. And TiE, of course, has been a phenomenal journey for me. I have no words to thank the TiE chapter, Akila, Aparna, who's been with me, Vijay, who's been with me. So I think entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. Like unlike the jobs we do, we have a group to go back to and discuss. So this is like, a lot of nightmarish nights and am I doing the right stuff? So the network becomes so important, and especially for women, it becomes all the more important because there's always a question like, are you doing enough? Are you making enough money in this? Or do you think you're better off, safer in a job, or better off contributing to your kids? So these questions will come up. So all that I would like to say is you just have to tell your kids that you are trying to live your best lives. So tomorrow when your daughter grows up, she'll look at you, walk tall, and live her best life. So that's the simple thing that we need to tell our parents or whoever is going to ask us that question. So I've stuck to that philosophy. And phase 1 and phase 2 has been brilliant for me. Phase 1 has taught me perspective. It's told me, Vijay's asked this question, why do you think you're doing what you're doing? And what do you want to achieve from what you're doing? And what will you do after you achieve it? So these are the questions that kind of reverberate with you. You think and you get driven by those questions. So you don't give up easily. So that's what phase 1 taught me. Phase 2 taught me precision. So like Rajan taught me how to storyboard yourself. So what's your journey and why are you doing this in the pandemic? So what's your pivot like and why it's good to pivot at this point? So then we had Krishnan who taught me like, tell it in a sentence. So I don't want stories. He said, you just tell it in one slide. So I think TIES taught me 2 important things. It's taught me perspective on entrepreneurship. It's taught me precision when you present or when you take your thoughts to investors, both of which is like equally important. And networking, peers, and a lovely group of ladies here who I'm seeing talking and taking a lot of selfies and a lot of memories to take home too. So these are the couple of things it's taught. So I think with that, I would like to say that it's a golden era of women entrepreneurship, where more and more investors are coming forth to invest in women. They're listening to us. It's great. It's fantastic. It feels good. I think it's our gentle touch that will create very, very strong businesses. So I again stand here very humbled and very grateful to everybody who's been part of my journey. So it's a fantastic journey, and 3 cheers to TIE and kudos to all of you here. Thank you very much, and see you all in many, many bigger posts and bigger ways sooner. Thank you.
Yeah, next we have Neha. Request everyone to keep their pitches a bit crisp as we have the next session in the next 20 minutes.